They don't scream, they don't slam doors, they just disappear. If you've ever known an INFJ, you might be wondering how someone so kind, so understanding, can suddenly vanish without a trace, without goodbye, without closure. It feels cold, it feels cruel, but what if I told you it's not sudden at all? An INFJ don't leave on impulse, they leave when staying would destroy them. Welcome to Brain One, the channel where we dive deep into the hidden psychology of rare personalities like the INFJ. In today's video, we're unraveling the quiet storm that builds inside the INFJ long before they walk away, and why, once they do, they never look back. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll stop seeing their silence as rejection and start understanding it as survival. Let's begin. They've reached their emotional limit. You see, INFJ rarely walk away after the first hurt. They'll stay through the miscommunications, the broken promises, the subtle disrespect, quietly hoping you'll notice, quietly hoping you'll care. But here's what most people never see. Every moment they stay, they're bleeding on the inside. They absorb the energy in the room, they analyze every word, they replay conversations in their mind 1,000 times, trying to understand, trying to forgive, trying to hold on just a little longer. And then one day, they can't. There's no explosion, no warning, just silence. Because by the time an INFJ walks away, they've already cried the tears, written the goodbye in their mind, and mourned the loss while you thought everything was fine. When they vanish, it's not out of anger, it's out of emotional survival. They've been observing everything. When an INFJ disappears, it may look sudden, but trust me, it never is. They've been watching silently, carefully, every word you said, every time you made them feel small, every time you laughed when they needed comfort. They noticed it all. When you look back at the areas in your life, and I'm going to be specific here for a moment, I want one person to confront things head on. They don't start drama, they study patterns, and slowly, quietly, they start checking out emotionally first, then mentally, and finally, physically. They'll still smile, they'll still be kind, but inside, they're packing their bags. And when they walk away, it won't be because of a single moment. It'll be because of a collection of moments you didn't even realize mattered. That's the thing about INFJs. They leave long before they're gone. So if one walks out of your life, don't ask why they vanished. Ask yourself how long they were hurting in silence before they finally let go. They don't believe in second chances with disrespect. INFJ are incredibly forgiving until they're not. They'll let small things slide, they'll rationalize the red flags, they'll even blame themselves for your behavior. But the moment they feel disrespected, truly disrespected, something shifts. And once that trust is broken, INFJ don't come back. Not because they're heartless, but because they know the cost of staying. They've seen what happens when they give second chances to people who never earned the first. They've lived that story and it left scars. So no, they won't yell. They won't demand an apology. They'll simply vanish. And their silence, that's their closure. Not out of revenge, but out of self-respect. Because once an INFJ decides that someone can't treat them with the kindness they offer so freely, there's no fixing it. They don't go backward. They heal by moving forward, even if it means walking alone. They feel too deeply to stay in shallow spaces. INFJ aren't wired for small talk, fake smiles, or surface-level connections. They crave meaning, conversations that go beyond "how was your day?" and into "how's your heart really feeling?" But the world doesn't always meet them at that depth. Sometimes They're surrounded by people who only know how to skim the surface, who don't ask, who don't feel in that emptiness. It's exhausting. So they retreat not to punish, but to protect, because being in shallow spaces feels like drowning for someone who feels everything that deeply. INFJ withdraw to preserve what's sacred inside them. Their empathy, their intuition, their peace. They'd rather be alone with their thoughts than surrounded by people who don't see them. So if they vanish, don't assume it's bitterness. It might just be that they were starving for depth in a world that kept offering noise. They've been silently screaming for a while. INFJ don't always speak when they're hurting. They'll smile, they'll nod, they'll say, "I'm fine," even when their world is quietly collapsing. Because they've learned most people don't listen to what's unspoken. And the INFJ, they speak through energy, through glances, through subtle shifts in tone. But when no one notices, when no one asks, they begin to fade, not out of weakness, but because their silent screams have echoed in empty rooms for far too long. They leave not because they want to, but because staying feels like screaming into a void, like begging to be seen and still being invisible. So if an INFJ vanishes, understand this. They didn't leave without trying. They left after realizing that their quiet pain was never going to be heard. And sometimes the only way to be heard is to disappear. They prioritize inner peace over external drama. For the INFJ, peace isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. They don't thrive in chaos, arguments, or constant tension. While others might fight to win or stay to prove a point, INFJ choose a different path. They walk away, not to hurt you, not to get even, but to protect the sacred calm they've worked so hard to build inside themselves. You might think they're cold for cutting ties, distant for choosing solitude. But what you don't see is how much noise they had to survive to earn their silence. For INFJs, drama isn't stimulating, it's soul-crushing. So when a connection starts to feel like a battlefield, they leave, not out of pride, but out of necessity. Because no relationship, no matter how deep, is worth losing their peace. When the door closes, it locks. INFJ don't just walk away, they end things. By the time they vanish, they've already gone through the heartbreak, the questioning, the guilt. They gave too many chances, they held on too long, they tried to believe you'd change. So when the door finally closes, it doesn't creak, it slams. Softly, silently, and permanently. And here's the truth most people don't expect. INFJ rarely look back. They don't leave room for maybe or what if, because reopening that door means reopening wounds that nearly broke them. They don't need revenge. They don't want closure. Their healing is the closure. If they walked away from you, understand it wasn't impulsive, it was overdue. And once an INFJ chooses peace over your presence, that chapter is closed for good. INFJ don't vanish to punish, they vanish to breathe again. If you've ever had an INFJ walk out of your life, don't just wonder where they went. Ask yourself what they endured in silence before they finally let go. And if you are the INFJ, this is your reminder, protecting your peace is not selfish. It's sacred. Thank you for watching this episode from Brainy One, where we give voice to the quiet minds and hidden hearts of rare personalities like yours. If this resonated with you, leave a comment below, tell us your INFJ story, or just say, I'm healing. You never know who might feel less alone because of your words. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss a message that speaks to your soul. Until next time, protect your peace. You were never meant to drown in noise.